So what is your reaction to this misspelled learning center with no children in it and a $4 million price tag?
Well, it's amazing to me that a 23-year-old journalist, a YouTuber, who's now got over 80 million views on this thing, found more in a matter of hours than Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, our Attorney General, have found in 7 years, Mike. I got to tell you, we've known in Minnesota about the daycare fraud for a decade. Keith Ellison is our current Attorney General. His predecessor, Lori Swanson, was actually investigating the daycare fraud and prosecuting back in 2017 and 18. As soon as Ellison became the Attorney General and Walz became the governor, all of that stopped. And now you see the result. Billions of dollars, it has been alleged, that they have fraudulently built out of Minnesota.
I rise today in recognition of the Sharia-Free America Caucus, which I am proud to have joined. Across the world, ideologically driven Islamic movements have destabilized entire regions, displaced tens of millions of people, and fueled terrorism, repression, and violence. Where civil law is subordinated to Islamic authority, freedom, prosperity, and security collapse. Sharia law is not a personal creed. It is a political and legal system that one that rejects equality before the law, suppresses dissent, and fuses radical religious doctrine with state power. History shows that where Sharia gains influence, constitutional government gives way to coercion. And Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to Democrats trying to give voting rights to illegal aliens. Mr. Speaker, once again, Democrats are taking the 20% side on another 80-20 issue. The American people do not want illegal aliens voting. They shouldn't be here to begin with. They have no claim on our resources, and they certainly should not be influencing our political system in any respect. Mr. Speaker, every single one of them needs to be deported, and thankfully we have a president who is actually doing that.
So, sir, it saddens me that you refuse to express regret from comparing ICE to Nazis. ICE agents are brave Americans who get up every morning, leave their families, and put their lives in harm's way to protect our country, sir. You, at the very least, owe an apology to these dedicated public servants. I will say, sir, inflammatory rhetoric such as yours and the other governors on this panel is responsible for putting a target on the back of every ICE agent who is risking their life to protect our communities. Minnesota is all too familiar, by the way, with the chaos that ensues when you refuse to work with law enforcement to enforce the law. In May 2020, looting, acts of violence, and arson occurred on your watch in Minneapolis after you refused to bring in the National Guard. Governor, your agenda is clear: free healthcare, free college and driver's licenses for illegals while handcuffing law enforcement when they're trying to protect our citizens and their communities. If you think that's not a sanctuary state, you shouldn't be governor.
The left's open borders were, I think most stingingly, a part of a deliberate policy to influence our elections, even at the expense of American families. An attempt to flood our country with illegal aliens, to distort congressional representation, to provide a pathway for them to vote, all part of a political program that was not just deeply cynical, but absolutely grotesque.
Chair recognizes Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for taking the time to be here. Governor Walz, are you familiar with the Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention benefit?
I am, Congressman.
Got it. It provides services for autism patients. Is that right?
That is correct.
Got it. And when did you become governor?
In January of 2019.
In 2019. Okay. So using 2018 as a baseline, do you know what that program paid in Medicaid claims?
I do not, Congressman.
It's about $671,000. Do you know what that program paid in Medicaid claims in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me.
$342 million. That's about a 500x increase over 6 years. Was there 500 times the number of autism patients in that time period?
I couldn't speak specifically to it, but I will say, Congressman, that
doesn't sound reasonable, right? You don't
Right,
think there was a 500x increase in the number of autism patients in 6 years, right?
correct, and that's why we ordered on-site visits starting back in 2024.
So we agree that doesn't sound reasonable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A core part of American sovereignty is the ability to determine who's able to enter our country. And the sole purpose of our immigration system is to benefit American citizens. That's why today I introduced a bill that would implement a Somalia immigration moratorium. Mr. Speaker, we've seen the multi-billion-dollar Somalia fraud scandal just in the past week, and Americans are furious. And the reality is that Somalian immigration makes America less prosperous, less safe, and less culturally cohesive.
As I said on Monday, good riddance to Governor Walz, but he cannot escape accountability for the estimated $9 billion in fraud. How did this happen? And where the hell has the Twin Cities media been? The Star Tribune is complicit. They have had this story for years, if you just heard, and they've refused to report anything on it. In fact, they continue to try and cover up. Our Minnesota Republican colleagues have demanded answers and accountability for years, but have seen nothing from Walz, his administration, our Democrat colleagues like Tina Smith, Amy Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar, and Angie Craig, or the worthless Star Tribune. Thank God for President Donald J. Trump for finally bringing attention to this issue.